A lot of people think that career growth starts with visibility. It doesn't. Visibility helps, but visibility without value just creates exposure. If people see you, but they don't understand the value that you create, visibility is not going to really move your career. It might even hurt you. The real order of things is different, and I call this the LMV model. That's leverage, momentum, and visibility in that order. And once you understand it, you'll start to see why so many people work hard for several years and seem to stay stuck, while other people seem to be able to gain trust, gain influence, and gain opportunities faster than other people. They're not always smarter and they're not always better. They just understand how value travels within the organization. A lot of people think that effort creates opportunity. And sometimes it does, but not always. Effort usually creates output, and that is different because you can be busy, you can be reliable, you can be the person that everyone leans on, you can be the person that answers emails at 10 o'clock at night or tries to take on more work and you still won't move forward. And that is what frustrates a lot of employees. They think, I'm working hard, why am I not getting noticed? But the better question is my work creating leverage? But if your effort is only creating output, then you might be useful where you already are. But if your work solves problems that matter to other people, now you're creating leverage. And leverage is where career growth starts. So let me go into what leverage actually is. Leverage is the ability to create value beyond your immediate task. It's not just doing your job. It's not just staying busy. It's not just being dependable. It's when your work affects the outcomes that matter to the organization. You create leverage when you reduce risk, when you get a customer to trust the company, when you save time, when you create clarity where there was confusion, when you solve problems before they become expensive, when you help your boss's job become easier. That is leverage. Those types of things create leverage. In a fabrication shop, leverage might be the person who sees the problem before it actually hits the floor. In the office, leverage could be the project manager who sees an issue and keeps leadership informed before it blows up in their face. Leverage is not just work. Leverage is useful work connected to meaningful outcomes. And here's the truth about it. If you can't explain where you're creating leverage, do not expect anyone else to be able to do it either. Now, leverage is the first signal of the model. Momentum is when you repeat it over and over again. This is where people get impatient. They want to have one big win and think that that's going to solve everything. It won't. Careers don't move because of one big moment. Momentum is repeated proof. You showed up early. You showed up prepared. You solve problems. You reduce risk. You bring in new customers. You build those customer relationships. But you don't just do any of those things one time. You do them consistently over and over and over again. That is momentum. Momentum is when people stop seeing your value as a one-off and start seeing it as reliable. And that matters because leaders don't promote one moment. They don't promote based off of moments. They promote based off of patterns. They want to know, can this person be trusted? Can this person handle more work? Can this person communicate? Can they represent us? Can they lead without creating drama? Can they make work easier instead of harder? And momentum answers those questions over time. Every time that you follow through, you make a deposit. Every time that you communicate before being chased for an answer, you make a deposit. Every time that you make a problem smaller, you make a deposit. And that is how trust compounds. And trust is what turns leverage into opportunity. If this is connecting, hit subscribe and join the Power Moves family. Because every Thursday I drop another video about workplace rules or leverage or things that professionals learn way too late in their career. And if you're trying to get promoted, build influence, or gain visibility at work, pick up the free 30-day promotion playbook. The link is in the description below. Now we get to visibility, because visibility matters. But visibility matters only after you create leverage and show momentum, because visibility by itself is not power. Visibility only works when the right people connect your name to the right type of value. And I've seen this a lot. A lot of people are visible for the wrong reasons. They're visible because maybe they complain too much, they make too many mistakes, they lost the company money. Those are the types of visibility that you do not want. Visibility that you want is different. You want people to connect your name to trust, to judgment, to clarity, ownership, problem solving, calmness, execution, leadership. That kind of visibility creates opportunity. Not because you are bragging and not because you're playing politics, but because your name and your reputation has started to travel. Your boss understands your value. Your peers understand your value. Decision makers understand your value. And eventually your name starts getting brought up in rooms that you are not in. That is when visibility is working. So I just want to repeat this because the order of this matters. LMV, leverage, momentum, visibility, in that order. A lot of people will chase this backwards because they want visibility first. They want to get noticed. They want recognition. They want leadership to see them. But if there is no leverage behind that visibility, it does not create trust. And if there is no momentum behind that leverage, it doesn't create confidence. That is why some people will get attention, but never really move forward. People will see them, but they don't trust them with more. Now, other people have leverage, but no visibility. They're extremely valuable, but their value is hidden. Sometimes those people are the people that carry teams. They communicate with customers or carry customers. They carry projects. They carry entire departments. But nobody outside of their immediate area understand their value. I know a lot of people like this, actually. And those are the people who often feel overlooked. Then you have people who show momentum, but in the wrong role. They become so dependable in the role that they're in that nobody imagines them anywhere else except that role. And that is something I call the reliability trap. They have momentum, but it is trapping them instead of moving them. And that is why all three pieces need to work together. Leverage gives your work weight. Momentum gives your work credibility. Visibility gives your work reach. You need all three. So how do you actually use this? Start with leverage and ask yourself, what problems do I solve that actually matter? Not what tasks do I do, what problems do I solve? Where do I reduce risk? Where do I create clarity? Where do I make my boss's job easier? Where does my work connect to money, decision-making, trust, clarity, judgment, schedule, quality? That is leverage. Then look at momentum. You need to ask yourself, am I creating repeated proof? Do people know what they can count on me for? Do I close loops? Do I communicate before being chased? Do I stay steady under pressure? Am I building a pattern that people will recognize and trust me with more? That is momentum. Then look at visibility. You need to ask yourself this: who actually knows the value that I create? Does my boss know my value? Do my peers know my value? Does leadership know my value? Do customers know my value? Can people explain my value when I am not in the room? If the answer is no, then you probably don't have a performance problem, you have a visibility problem, and that can be fixed. Not by bragging, but by communicating clearly, by connecting your work to certain outcomes, by giving people language for the value that you create, by making sure that your reputation travels beyond your desk. And that is LMV. That's the LMV model right there. Career growth does not happen just because you work hard. Hard work matters, but hard work by itself is not a strategy. You need leverage. You need momentum. You need visibility. And you need to do it in that order. Leverage means your work matters. Momentum means that your work can be trusted. And visibility means that the right people understand it. And when all three of those work together, your career starts to take off. That is the real game. Leverage, momentum, visibility, in that order. If you are stuck in your career, one of those is probably missing. Find the missing piece, fix that shit, and your career will start moving in the right direction. If this video gave you something to think about, hit subscribe, join the Power Moves family. New videos every Thursday, free 30-day promotion playbook in the description below. And as always, like, share, comment. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys on the next video.